Hey, everybody, and welcome to a deep dive. Well, a deep dive, that's a little different.
Yeah, a little bit of a different flavor.
We're not, digging through research papers or,
Right.
complex data sets or anything like that.
Yeah,
Instead, we're going deep on a single story
it's true.
about Shaquille O'Neal.
That Shaq,
Yes, that Shaq.
the big Aristotle.
And a really surprising encounter that he had at a grocery store.
That's right.
Yo.
Now, it might seem like an odd place to find,
Yeah.
a profound lesson or a really interesting story.
Right.
But this one, I think it packs a punch.
Okay.
It really does make you think about
Right.
how we react to each other,
Okay.
especially in those unexpected situations.
Okay, so picture this. You're in the cereal aisle.
Yeah.
Just trying to pick out, your breakfast for the week.
Right.
And suddenly there's Shaq, the basketball legend,
Yeah.
right next to you comparing nutrition labels.
Yeah, he's checking out the sugar content.
Like the rest of us.
That's right. Just like us.
And what's interesting is the source material actually emphasizes that he wasn't like
Right.
decked out in,
No.
flashy clothes or anything.
Like a regular
He's
dude.
just regular guy.
T-shirt and jeans.
Yeah.
Just blending in.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting because it sets up this dynamic of like,
Right.
he's deliberately not playing the celebrity card.
Yeah. He's just,
He's just there to get his cereal.
yeah, I'm here for the Honey Nut Cheerios, just like you.
That's right.
But then Rādekto enters our other main character, an
Right.
elderly woman named Mrs. Margaret.
Yeah.
And let's just say their interaction does not exactly start with a, friendly good morning.
No, not at all. It's almost jarring
Okay.
how quickly things kind of go south.
Really?
She makes a comment about Shaq being in her way,
Mm-hmm.
but the source makes it clear it's not just the words.
Mm-hmm.
It's the tone, right?
Oh.
Like there's this clear sense of disdain, almost like she's looking down on him.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Okay, I gotta admit, when I first read this, I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, hold on. Is this about to turn into like a celebrity confrontation video?
Right. That's not where this goes.
It's not at all.
Yep.
Shaq, to his credit, just steps aside politely.
And I think that's crucial.
Yeah.
His initial reaction is to de-escalate,
Right.
not engage, not give her negativity any fuel,
Yeah.
which honestly is
Yeah.
a lesson in itself.
Yeah.
Not letting someone else's bad vibe dictate your response.
Totally. So you think that would be the end of it, right?
Yeah.
Awkward moment over. Everybody goes back to their shopping.
Back to the Frosted Flakes.
Nope.
Nice.
Mrs. Margaret doubles down.
Oh, boy.
She starts yelling for security.
Oh, no.
And the language,
Uh-oh.
well, let's just say
Yeah.
it was shockingly prejudiced.
Yeah, it was like witnessing a verbal assault.
Wow.
The entire store goes silent.
Oh, my gosh.
Even the security guard seemed taken aback.
Oh,
Unsure how to proceed.
wow.
Everyone's looking at Shaq, waiting to see how he's going to react.
Oh, man. I talk about pressure.
I know, right?
I mean, as a black man in America,
Yeah,
especially one in the public eye,
of course.
there's this weight of expectation, right?
Absolutely.
Like how he responds is going to be scrutinized, analyzed,
Totally.
maybe even turned into a meme.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But what Shaq does is,
Yeah.
well, it's a masterclass in composure.
It really is.
So he addresses Mrs. Margaret directly,
Uh-huh.
but his tone is calm,
Yes.
even tinged with sadness.
A little bit of sadness.
And he says,
Yeah.
Ma'am, I understand you may not be used to seeing someone like me here, but I'm just here to shop like you and everyone else.
Right.
I'm a son, a friend, a hardworking man, and a citizen of this community.
Just listening to him recount it, you can hear the sincerity in his voice.
Right.
Like he really means it.
He's not trying to preach. He's not trying to lecture.
No,
He's appealing to her on a human level.
Human level.
And then he does something really clever.
Okay, tell me.
He brings up his own grandmother.
Oh, interesting.
So he says
Yeah.
that if his grandma saw her behaving this way,
Right.
she'd be heartbroken.
Wow.
And so he's not just defending himself.
No.
He's tapping into this
Yeah.
shared experience,
Yeah.
this universal idea of like a grandmother's love and wisdom.
Everyone has a grandma or had a grandma, or
Right.
grandmother figure in their life.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's almost like he's saying,
Uh.
hey, we both have people in our lives who teach us what's right and wrong. Let's connect on that level.
That's right.
And you know what?
What?
it starts to work.
Really?
Mrs. Margaret's tough facade starts to crumble.
Wow.
She visibly softens. And then in a moment that honestly gave me chills reading the source, she starts to cry.
Oh, wow.
She realizes the ugliness of what she said, and she apologizes.
Wow.
Genuinely apologizes.
No kidding.
To Shaq.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean...
That's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's heavy. So what happens next?
Okay.
I'm on the edge of my seat here.
All right. So.
Give me the next part.
Let's dive into that.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. You got to admit, that's pretty powerful stuff.
I mean, how often do you see someone go from hurling insults to genuine remorse in like, what, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
And it really speaks volumes, I think, about Shaq's approach, you know?
Yeah.
He could have easily gotten defensive.
Oh, absolutely.
Angry even.
Right.
But by staying calm.
Yeah.
And importantly, like appealing to her humanity.
Yeah.
He created space for her to like reflect and ultimately change her behavior.
You really did.
It makes you wonder, you know, if maybe a harsher reaction wouldn't have gotten the same result.
It's a good question.
Maybe she needed that gentle nudge, you know?
Yeah.
That reminder that we're all just people trying to navigate this crazy world.
I think what's really interesting, too, is that this wasn't like a calculated PR move on Shaq's part.
Right.
Like, this was a genuine human response.
Yeah.
And that authenticity, I think, is what resonated so deeply.
Yeah.
With Mrs. Margaret, and I think with everyone who witnessed it.
Right. And the source mentions that people in the store started clapping.
Oh, wow.
Some were even tearing up.
Really?
It was like this collective sigh of relief. Like everyone was holding their breath, waiting to see what would happen.
Right.
And then Shaq, with his kindness, diffused this incredibly tense situation.
Yeah, it's such a good example of how one person's actions can have this ripple effect.
Totally.
Not just on the individual they're interacting with, but like on the whole environment.
Right, like he shifted the energy of the entire store.
Exactly.
From tension and judgment to understanding and compassion.
It's really amazing. And it didn't stop there, right?
No, it didn't.
The source talks about how this story became this like local legend, this heartwarming tale of this unlikely connection.
Right.
It even says that Mrs. Margaret, who was initially known for her kind of gruff demeanor, had a reputation shift after this.
No kidding.
Yeah, she became known for her kindness.
Wow.
Which is incredible.
That's amazing.
To think about that one interaction with Shaq in a very real way.
Yeah.
Changed her trajectory.
It makes you wonder about the power of these seemingly small moments and how they can have such profound and lasting impacts.
Totally.
Like it's that saying, right? Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
And we never know what someone else is going through.
Of course.
What experiences have shaped their worldview.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Shaq, by choosing empathy over anger, you know, gave Mrs. Margaret a chance to confront her own biases, to evolve as a person.
To become better.
And it's a reminder that those kinds of transformations are possible for all of us, right?
Absolutely.
We all have biases. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, we're human.
The key is to be open to learning.
Yeah.
To challenging our own perspectives and approaching others.
Right.
With a willingness to understand even when it's difficult.
Even when it's hard.
This deep dive is really making me think about how I handle those kinds of situations in my own life.
Me too.
Have you ever encountered someone being openly prejudiced like Mrs. Margaret was to Shaq?
You know, it's funny you should ask that. I actually had a somewhat similar experience a while back.
Yeah, it really is amazing how like a simple trip to the grocery store, you know, can turn into this really profound moment.
Totally.
This story about Shaq and Mrs. Margaret, I think, really highlights the power of, you know, human connection.
Absolutely.
Even when it comes from these like unexpected places.
Yeah. And I think what's really interesting too is that the impact extends, you know, far beyond just those two individuals.
Right.
Like think about all the other people in the store.
Oh yeah, the bystanders.
Right. They witness this like incredible act of grace.
Right.
And, you know, the transformative power of empathy firsthand.
Yeah, it's like Shaq's actions planted a seed.
Yeah.
Not just in Mrs. Margaret, but in everyone who was there.
I like that.
The seed of hope. A reminder that like positive change is possible even when faced with prejudice and negativity.
And then the story itself becomes kind of this legend, you know, passed from person to person.
Yeah.
Reinforcing that message of hope and understanding.
It makes you wonder how many other, like, Mrs. Margarets are out there.
Yeah.
You know, people who might be holding on to these outdated views.
Yeah.
Just waiting for someone to, extend a hand of compassion.
Challenge their perspective.
Challenge their perspective, yeah.
It's a good question, and I think it gets at the heart of what this whole deep dive is about, right?
Yeah. How do we bridge divides and promote understanding in a world that often feels, so polarized? So what does all this mean for us? How can we take the lessons from Shaq's encounter and apply them to our own lives?
Yeah, it's easy to just say, like, oh, be kind.
Right.
But what does that actually look like?
In practice, yeah.
In practice.
Yeah. What do we do?
Well, I think it starts with recognizing that everyone has a story.
Right.
We all carry around, our own unique set of experiences, our own, biases and preconceived notions, and sometimes those things can lead us to judge others unfairly.
Just like Mrs. Margaret initially judged Shaq.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So instead of jumping to conclusions or, reacting defensively, we can try to approach others with a bit more curiosity.
Okay.
Ask ourselves, what might have led this person to think or act this way?
Yeah, try to understand the why behind someone's behavior.
Absolutely.
Instead of just labeling them as good or bad.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that understanding, I think, can create space for empathy, for connection, even if we don't agree with someone's views.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Shaq didn't try to, lecture Mrs. Margaret.
Right.
Or shame her into changing her mind.
Right.
He just, shared his own experience.
Yeah.
Appealed to her sense of humanity and allowed her to come to her own realization.
And that's a really powerful reminder that sometimes the most effective way to change hearts and minds is through genuine human connection.
Yeah.
Through stories and shared experiences that
Absolutely.
resonate on an emotional level.
It's about choosing understanding over anger.
Right.
Compassion over condemnation.
Yeah.
Recognizing that shared humanity that connects us all.
Right.
Despite our differences.
This deep dive has been a powerful reminder that even in the face of, prejudice and negativity, there's always room for hope.
Always.
For understanding, for positive change. And, each of us has the power to be a part of that change.
That's right.
Simply by choosing, kindness and empathy in our daily interactions.
I love that.
So thank you all for joining us on this journey of exploration and reflection.
Thanks, everyone.
And until next time, keep diving deep and keep seeking those moments of connection that make life so rich and meaningful.
See you next time.